Payday Super is the new regime regarding the timing of contributions to super funds by employers for their employees. It's due to take effect from 1 July 2026. It's a really big change because the current system is based on a quarterly arrangement. So the deadline for making super contributions is 28 days after the end of the quarter that the employee is paid in. Instead of this, there will be a new deadline that applies each and every time an employee is paid. So whether they're on a weekly, fortnightly, or monthly payroll, then the timing of super contributions hitting their super funds needs to line up with the timing of their pay. It'll be great for employees to have the benefit of the cash hitting their super funds sooner. But this change is a big one for employers, and it will put them and their payrolls under a lot more pressure because not meeting these deadlines can involve significant penalties. So here's what you need to know now. The legislation to introduce this change still isn't in place. So we expect that to be available anytime, and there still will be some further consultation. But the government has announced the broad framework of the system following some consultations that happened last year. And here's the big thing. Everyone involved in the industry, and particularly those who are close to payroll, are very keen for there to be recognition of the fact that there are regularly adjustments through payroll, things like back pay or other information that comes through or might be missing in the course of onboarding. And to deal with that, really the submissions were very much directed at, let's make sure that there's still a reasonable sort of time, say after the end of a month of a pay or after the pay itself, so that this can be done correctly before any penalties start to apply. The government has announced that there will be a short lag after each pay, but it's a period of 7 days. So from within 7 days of a pay having occurred, the funds that are due in relation to super guarantee have to reach the employee's super fund. You have 7 days, 1 week, for every part of the process in terms of calculating it, remitting it, getting through the clearing process, and the funds reaching the employee's super funds. Now that's pretty swift. There will be other changes to support this, and the ATO themselves are working on some systems type issues that will help with streamlining arrangements. There will also be a bunch of changes to the super guarantee regime itself. So for example, the current rate of interest that applies whenever there's a late payment of super is a flat 10%. That's going to change so that it's in line with GIC, the general interest charge. And at the moment, that's a fair bit higher than 10%, although it can vary. The admin charge, that's currently $20 per employee per quarter when there's a shortfall. That's no longer going to be that mandated amount. It'll be a levy that the ATO will determine based on the size of the shortfall. So these are big changes as well. What can you do? The main thing that you can do right now is make sure that payroll is really working very effectively within the single touch payroll reporting regime. So that's how things are tagged and reported, as well as how funds are flowing and all of the process steps behind the scenes that support funds getting into the super fund. Have you done a review of whether that's happening timely at the moment? And if not, that's something to look at more closely. As I say, there will be more penalties, there will be more data matching, and there will be changes to STP reporting, particularly the need to report ordinary time earnings. So if that's not something you've looked at recently, then that's something to think about as soon as possible. As I said to begin with, this isn't yet law, but it's something that's been proposed since 2023, and a considerable amount of work has already been done in the consultation process. So we do expect that that will happen. Whether there will be some transition periods around timing of introduction, that remains to be seen. We'll keep you informed. Stay tuned. I'm Tanya Ross-Jones. This is Andante Consulting Tax Updates.